academic, professional, and social goals. ECMT is affiliated with MACOUT, formerly known as WBUT, is one of the renowned university in West Bengal. ECMT offers Bachelors of Computer Application, Bachelors of Business Administration, B Optometry, and MSc Computer Science course. And all the courses are affiliated by MACOUT. So, our today's topic of the webinar is Future of Gaming in India. Now, I would like to request all the students to attend the webinar. Now I would like to request all the students to attend the session, and at the end of the session, you will be given some feedback form, and submitting the form will ensure you to get e-certificate. So today we are extremely honored to have an eminent personality with us, Mr. Arijit Gun, who is presently serving as 3D art lead in Encore Games, Bangalore. He has more than 15 years of experience in leading 3D game art production. He has worked as art lead in Disney Interactive, Moonfrog Labs, Dhruva Interactive, and Encore Games. He is directing the production of 3D game art throughout the game's development cycle. He is managing and tracking the art game and ensuring the quality benchmark. He is working on environment assets, outsourcing, rigging, PFX, and tool scripting. He is leading so many projects like Dawn of Titans, the IMGA award winner, Bioshock Pocket Gamer award winner, and many more contribution towards 3D gaming, 3D art, and animations. Now I'm welcoming Mr. Arijit Gun to share his thought on this topic. Thank you.
Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome everyone. So first, I'll just give a brief introduction. So I've been in this industry for almost 15 years, mainly in the game art section, and I handle 3D game arts and also art direction. So as you know, in India, mainly the mobile industry is booming these days. So presently, I am in the mobile industry, and so let me first share my screen. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I started my career as a 2D animator in Kolkata, in Dawson Infotech, and then from there I moved on to graphic designing, faculty, and those, and ultimately I land up in the gaming industry as my primary interest was in games. So after that, I've spent 15 years in this industry. So from there, I went to Mumbai in Milestone Interactive, which was a game publishing company, for training. From there, I went to India Games, then Disney Interactive. In Disney Interactive, I led the team for almost 10 years. Uh, then I moved to Bangalore in one of the most profitable gaming companies currently in India, that is Moonfrog Labs. Then I spent 3 years and worked on prominent games like Bahubali and Bollywood-based games and Teen Patti Gold. Then I moved to Dhruva Interactive, which is one of the oldest gaming companies in India. There I worked in Dawn of Titans, and then I moved to Encore Games, where we were developing the full production of Vainglory. Vainglory is one of the leading MOBA games in the world, which is running for almost 5 years. So we are currently working on several projects. I'll just show you some of the projects. So this is the Dawn of Titans project that we worked. This is a Zynga project. and it's in mobile, but the full art production it is done in India. So Indian companies are coming up with very good quality, both in terms of art and programming. So programming, like we hire programmers from IITs mainly, and then also we have very good startups coming up. As you know, Bangalore is the startup capital of India. So there are lots and lots of startups that are coming up in India with very good talent. So they generally have like small teams, but uh, their talents are like they are able to do multitasking. They are able to do. They are able to bridge between art and programming. So those kind of skills are shown there. So another project like Vainglory also we worked. Vainglory is one of the leading MOBA games. So MOBA is a genre of game. You have seen games like Dota or League of Legends, similar to this Vainglory. Vainglory is mostly popular in esports genre. Uh, so the whole production was handled in Bangalore only. The actual gameplay is like this. So this is a MOBA game. And this kind of quality nowadays you get in mobile itself. And while in Disney, we worked on sports games, Bollywood games, and also RTS games. So this is one of the sports games that we worked on, cricket, Pro Cricket 2015. So that was the World Cup's official ICC game. So if we just shift from mobile to console also, we can easily shift from these builds. But this is a mobile game. I am mainly into mobile game only. And why? The reason I'll show in the statistics, you will understand. Then in Moonfrog, we developed this RTS games. So this is like Clash of Clans. You guys have played Clash of Clans. This is similar to that game. So we build the full pipeline inside Moonfrog Labs. The team was actually led by Mark Skaggs, who was the founder of Zynga and the maker of Farmville, Cityville, Mafia, those kind of games. Okay, so today's topic is future of gaming in India, and we'll start like with a brief introduction to the status of gaming in India and how the industry is growing and how the revenue is growing in India. So first thing we need to know is that how internet is penetrating in our country. If you see, almost 75% population of India is under the age of 45. So they are very keen to go into the net or playing games or using digital products. So that way, internet's contribution to gaming is very huge in India. If you see, almost 600 million internet users are already there in India, and that is going to jump up within 3 to 4 years. Like within 3 to 4 years, these numbers are almost increasing leaps and bounds. Like maybe within 10 years, it will double. If you see Geo platform, after they brought in the 4G, and now 5G is also coming, and also the rates are very affordable now. Initially, when we started in the gaming industry, internet was a very big issue. Like nowadays, all the players play multiplayer games. You don't play a single player game. Like you just start a game and play it yourself. That is fine, but 90% features are now linked with the internet. Like if even if you are not playing a multiplayer game, even if you are playing single player game, then also you need to compare your performance. Like there is this leaderboard kind of things where you can compare your uh, score with your friends, say Facebook friends. Those kind of things, you require internet. Also downloading the game, installing the game, internet is a very big part. And also 33% of the internet users are female, so that is also a very encouraging signs for India. That number is growing hugely. Now gaming number wise is also increasing every year. If you see the revenue increase, you can see it's almost doubling. So revenue means it doesn't mean the profit. Revenue means the full income that they are getting from that. The development cost is also going on, but development cost these days for games are very less. So it's a very profitable industry. If you see the companies that I have worked, like Moonfrog Labs, they have just released a small game, Tin Patti, that is like the Indian poker version. Zynga made their poker version, and that is a big hit internationally. So these guys thought that okay, we'll make our own game. So it was a team out of Zynga India. Zynga already came to India like many years back. So from there, 5 people came out and they started their own startup. Like Bangalore, you will see every month there are 4 to 5 startups coming up. So in gaming also same thing happening. So these guys build their own poker version, Indian poker version, that is Tin Patti, and that is a very big hit. So they are not the only company who build Indian poker, Tin Patti. There are other companies also like Octro, or there is Ultimate Tin Patti. So those games are also making money. But I'm only giving you the details of Moonfrog Labs. Like they're making crores of money every month just from one game. So that is also supporting the development for their other games. And that game development cost is very less. It is not a console game or AAA game like you see in PC games or console games. It's a very small 2D game which is getting this amount of revenue, which is actually very encouraging. Similarly, there are many other games like Ludo King is one of the most popular games now. Even in this lockdown, if you see, lockdown, all the industries went down. But there are some industry which actually made profit. They have increased their profit in the lockdown, because gaming is one of them. Because gaming is an entertainment product. Like if you see the OTT platforms, the Amazon Prime or the Netflix, they are also making lots of profits. Similarly, gaming is something that is uh, like that is not hampered by this kind of economic things. If you remember the 2008 economic slowdown, that time also gaming was the only industry which was not affected at all. So similarly, in this lockdown also, people started playing more games. So some of the companies actually increased their profit by 30%. Like Ludo King, I'm saying Ludo is one of the very hit games that is going on now in India. Many startups are starting their own Ludo games. So GameShawn is a company in Mumbai who developed this Ludo King game. They are also making hundreds of crores from that single game. So the main point is that gaming revenue wise is very good. It doesn't depend what quality game you are giving. Like it doesn't mean you have to create a very big budget game. Even small games are making crores of money. So revenue wise it is very lucrative. Then another section is coming up in India very well, that is the esports. Esports means uh, like the game development companies, they develop the games. So the programmers, artists, producers, they get salary from that. So that is one form of career. But what about the players who are playing the games? Like if I am a very good player, like I'm a very good FIFA player, or I'm a very good Vainglory player or Counter Strike player. Like if you play games at your home all day. Hello. So if you play games all day at your home, your parents will say that why are you wasting your time? So now that is not the case. Like it is not a waste of time. Either you can go to the gaming industry from that as a tester. Like there is like software tester, there is game tester also. Similar training, like software engineers only become game testers. But other than the software degree, they need another skill. They should be professional game players, very good game players. They only progress in the game testing career. There are separate companies for game testing. They do only game testing. So that is also another option for career. And esports is like, it is not testing, it is actually competitive gaming where you are competing with other players. And you can imagine the amount of money that they are getting. If you see the PUBG, the amount, the prize money is 50 lakhs, and that is increasing actually. Now PUBG is banned in India, that is separate, but there are other games also like Dota, FIFA, okay, League of Legends, then Clash Royale. These kind of games are very popular in the esport genre, and they have dedicated teams. So I have many friends who are in this esport genre. They have their own teams, like you have IPL teams or your local club teams where you know your teammates and you play as a team. So that kind of esports teams are there in India who together they get this winning amount. Lots of cheating also happens, and there are ways to rectify those things. But this is another industry. Then game jam is also coming up in India very well. If you know that there is a organization called globalgamejam.org, that is an international organization. They organize these game jams. You can register there and you can create your own game. So what is a game jam? Game jam is like, it is to promote game development basically. So generally a game that you build, it takes how much time? Like if you say games like FIFA or Prince of Persia or Max Payne or those kind of big budget games. Okay, those kind of games generally takes years of development, and the team size will be like in hundreds. Say 300, 400 people works for 2 to 3 years minimum to generate those level of game. Those are known as triple A games. So big budget games, there's a term in gaming, three capital A. You'll say triple A games. Triple A games means big budget. Like we have big budget Bollywood movies, like a Yash Raj movie, we can say is a big budget movie. Like that, triple A games are very very expensive to create and distribute also. Not only creation but also distribution. So that is something where you cannot test your skill regularly. So to get over that, we have these game jams. Like for coding, you guys have hackathons where you go for a competition which is say 2 days, 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day. Small amount of time you will get, and there you have to compete with other coders. Similarly, game jams is another format where you form a very very small team, like say it can be from 2 to 5 member team, where you have one coder, one artist, okay, one game designer. They team up, and in the game jam that is organized every year, they will give you a topic that okay, this is the topic and you have to create a game in 2 days. So very fast, there is no polish, nothing. Very fast, within 2 to 3 days, what can be achieved, they achieve it, and then they compare it, compete with the other members. So that can be a prize thing. There can be a prize, or there can be other means of like recognition. So in Moonfrog also we used to have many game jam competitions internally. External judges will come and they will like judge. So this is a very good way of polishing your skills basically, and know your status in the industry, how good you are in game development. And these are mostly these are free. You don't have to pay any money. So another thing that is coming very fast is gamification. If you know, gamification is a very broad term, but in the aspect of game development, we can say there are lots of opportunities that is coming. And all these things that I'm showing right now, these are very very new to India, and these are growing at a very good pace. So gamification is one of them. So this is taking gaming out of the gaming industry. Like if you see gaming as an industry, that is a very small industry right now. But if you go to gamification, gamification is used in all the industries. Like be it, say, here you can see one example where in exercise you can use games to, but so you cannot say that this is a proper game like we used to play the games, but this is using the gaming knowledge and gaming techniques in all the other industry, like industrial training you are having. You open a factory, you bought some new machineries, now you want to train the employees. So old method was there will be a technical guy, they will give some books and they will give verbal instructions or videos of like a very very boring way of teaching something new. But gamification makes those things interesting and also very efficient. Like you say you buy a new product, you buy a washing machine or a TV or whatever, it can be a car or whatever product. Now you get a manual, right? There's a user manual for that. Now tell me how many people read those manuals completely. 90% of the people will just go through like within 5 minutes they will complete it. They will not read anything in detail, and they will not learn basically anything. They will just learn by trial and error. But now what happens is these kind of user manuals all will be transferred through gamification. So you'll play small games to learn the usability of these things. Like industrial training, if you do a mistake, it can cause life loss also. So it is very serious thing, but done through in an entertainment manner, like through games. Those way, that way people will find it more interesting. Okay, then there is simulation industry where we use these gaming techniques. So gaming doesn't only means that you are building games. Gaming techniques and softwares and your experience in gaming, these things can be used in all these industries that I'm showing. So if you see, now even in Maruti, if you go, they have these kind of trainings where the driver is getting trained through simulation. So they have a game environment on which you actually drive, but without the risk of like committing an accident. Similarly, in the army, whether it's a fighter pilot or a soldier, okay, or shooting practice, everything is coming through simulation law. If you do a shooting practice in a ground, you actually are using bullets, right? You are spending so much in the bullets, and also there's a risk to that. So instead of doing going through that risk and cost, if you just spend initially to a system where you can virtually train them, that is in long run very cost effective and risk free. That is the most important thing. Fighter pilot training how to bomb a city, they even forget about the training, they even practice their missions in this simulation. Like if say Indian pilots are going beyond LOC and bombing something, some targets, they can basically go through that mission fully in computer before going there actually. So the element of shock or element of surprise will be less there. So this is also a very big industry that is coming up. Like it might seem like futuristic or something which India is way behind, but that is not the case actually. If you see, there are many companies in Bangalore who are developing this kind of softwares, even in uh, shipping, robotics, everywhere they are using this. Then this is a no-brainer, e-learning. E-learning is a very big industry, but in that there are many parts which used gaming. Baiju, for example. Baiju is like, it was started by one guy, Baiju, his name is Baiju. Like he started this company, and now if you see, it is one of the most like one of the company which is getting the most amount of investments in India. Everybody is trying to invest in Baiju right now. Thousands of crores he is getting in investment. Okay, so what it is like, e-learning was there before also. E-learning, like many schools, they introduce these digital classes and all those things, but those digital classes needs to be more interesting, right? You can use PPTs, okay, or videos, or normal graphs and all those things to showcase in a screen. That is one option. But another option is through apps or softwares where which is interactive. That is the big jump that is coming in e-learning. E-learning which is interactive. So again, gaming comes in here. So gaming knowledge, like the softwares that you are using or the techniques that you are using, same thing you are using in this industry. And you are actually building games. So there are small games which teaches you about, say, one subject. Like, say, for example, doctors are getting trained through this kind of softwares, which is augmented reality they use. That is a technique I'll tell you later. So these kind of things are used not only by class 2, class 3 students, but also by highly professional people like the engineers or the doctors. E-learning doesn't, don't think that e-learning is only for academic studies up to like class 12 or graduation, like that. Even you are industry expert, then also you can go through this e-learning through small games. Okay, Jumpstart. Jumpstart is already closed. I think Jumpstart doesn't exist anymore in India because they are having some issues financially and all those. But it was one of the biggest contributors in e-learning in India. It was a US company, but they has their development center in India. Then there is Imbibe. Imbibe, they recently got almost 1200 crore investment from Reliance. They are coming big. They are just building up the team right now. Dexler. So there are lots of companies in e-learning sector. Then, as I was saying, augmented reality. Augmented reality is an extension of virtual reality. If you know what virtual reality is, VR, virtual reality means you are placed inside a virtual environment. Like when you play a 3D game, you are actually in a virtual environment, right? When you are playing Counter-Strike or COD, you are actually inside a virtual 3D environment. The world that you see inside that, it's virtual, it's not real. But the problem is you are seeing it in your screen and you are moving. Even if you are turning right or turning left, you are turning through your mouse or controller. So that is not exactly simulating your environment, right? So virtual reality is one step up from the computer games. Virtual reality, you wear a device where you are cut off from your actual world. When you are playing computer games, you are sitting inside a room. You can see the light, you can see the people moving around, all those things, external elements you can see other than the game. But in virtual reality, you are wearing a glass or a device where you are cut off from the real world, and you actually move your head and actually move forward. There are platforms built for that, where you feel that you are inside that environment. That is virtual reality. Now, from that comes the augmented reality. So we have the PC games or 3D games that you are seeing. From that, you are coming to virtual reality, where you're cutting off the environment. Now, augmented reality is the mixture of both. So, augmented reality is virtual elements you are having, but you are not cut off from the real world. Those virtual objects are projected on the real world itself. Like if you see this furniture thing or any product, this guy is shopping his shoes. So he's actually looking in at his legs, but through a screen. He's actually looking into his leg, but on that a virtual object is getting projected, like the shoes or the furniture or whatever. You can check glasses. I used to work for a company where they used to make these glasses. Okay, so I used to make those glasses, and they have a software where they will implement it. Now, when the customer is buying the glasses, he's looking through his webcam, and the glass is already fit in his eyes. So even if you rotate your head and everything, you can see the glass is still there. That is augmented reality. So this is one of the biggest industry that is coming on, because you can find this technology in all aspect of your life. Like devices like this Google Glass and all those things are coming. Geo is also, I think Reliance is also coming up with something like that, where you just have to wear a glass. Okay, now whatever you see in the surrounding, you will see virtual information on that. You go to shopping, whenever you look at that product, all the details comes up over the product itself, like you can see in this image. Like what is, you can see the direction in the shop, what is the price of the product, what is the specialty of the product, features, everything. Okay, in real estate also it is being used, like measurement. In, like we used to measure our room with these tapes, right? If we want to say I want to paint my home or something, we will be measuring our home with tapes. But AR is something which is helping us with these apps, where you can measure, you can color your room fully before actually coloring it. You can place furniture, you can change light and see how the room is looking. Real estate agents trying to sell a flat which is not yet built, a project which is not yet done, it is only in the blueprint. You can check the whole project through AR before actually buying it. So this is something which will be affecting all the industries, not only gaming. Now, when we come to the devices, so gaming is a generic term, but gaming can be achieved through several devices, right? So initially, when we got introduced to gaming in India, say in India, digital gaming first came in computer, PC games. Okay, then there is this consoles, PS4, now PS5 has come, Xbox, okay, Nintendo, those things. Initially, we started with those 8-bit games. There was very cheap and very low quality. Low quality means graphically, because that time it was not graphically that much was not achieved at that time. Like I'm saying, say 30 years back. 30 years back, we used to play with those 8-bit games like the Super Mario Bros. Okay, Contra, those kind of games we used to play. So those are known as consoles. And now we have these high-end consoles. Then we have these tablets, handheld device, we call them, like the PSPs, Sony PSP or the iPad. Those are tablets. Then you can play games in TV also. If you have like Tata Sky connection or any other DTH connection, there are DTH games that you can play inside the TV itself. Then you have these arcade machines. Arcade machines you can find in these shopping malls. These big gaming sections you will find, where there are lots of different kinds of machine. Arcade is limited, like you have to build a hardware specific to single game. So that is limited, but that is also another form of gaming. Then we have these virtual reality devices and all those, like you can fit your mobile inside that. There is one kind of device you get for 2,500 rupees. You get very good device. It does nothing, but it just hold the mobile in front of your eyes. So through that, and if your camera is open, then you can use it for AR also. And full virtual reality devices are also there, like Oculus, okay, and Sony PlayStation VR is also there. So those kind of things, you don't need a mobile or anything. Actual games are playing inside that device. And finally, the mobile. Now, mobile, when initially mobile gaming started, it was a very, very limited option that we used to have. Like those time we used to have feature phones. Feature phones means you used to have those Nokia phones or Motorola phones where the buttons are there and there is small screen. You can just take a small photo or something. But capability wise, those phones were very, very limited. But the whole scenario changed when smartphones enters the scenario. So smartphone, what is a smartphone? Smartphone is almost as powerful as a computer, you can say. Like these days, mobiles are coming with 12 GB RAM. Can you imagine? Like 2 3 years back, also I was using maybe 16 GB RAM in my computer, and the mobile is having 12 GB RAM. So basically, you can run softwares through that. These days, many applications are coming where you can just connect your mobile to your monitor and you can actually use it as software, like painting software, 3D software, those kind of things you can use, because mobiles are so powerful these days, graphically and processor wise, GPU wise. They are very, very powerful. Screens are getting bigger, resolutions are getting higher. So what this did was, gaming was made affordable to the mass. Initially, when you play game, like initially when I was in like 10th standard or like 7th, 8th, 10th standard, those kind of age, I used to play games in computer. That was only option, computer or those 8-bit consoles. But now I can play the better quality games. What I used to play that time, much, much better quality games are available in mobile, and that also for free. Basically, you are playing the game for free. You don't have to pay any money upfront to play that game. And as I showed you earlier in the slide, the internet penetration is very, very high. So people are playing games in their mobile for free. So initially, if you make a console game or PC game, how many user you will get? In India, there are very, very limited player. But if you make a mobile game, you will get millions and millions of players. Within 1 week of your game release, you will get millions and millions of players who are playing your game. And if they like your game and if they start paying, the amount is very, very significantly different from what you get from PC game or console games. Specifically, I'm talking about India. So all the companies, they now mainly focus on mobile games, and these days difference is very less, mobile game and console games. Now, what are the companies that are working in India? There are lots of companies. Like initially, 2 or 3 companies were there when game development started in India. Okay, one company in Mumbai, one in Bangalore, like this. But then come, like, after they see that money is coming, then many companies started building games, and like 25 companies were there earlier in 2010. But now that is multiplied to almost 300 companies. At current times, India has almost 300 game development companies that are building multiple games at a time. Okay, and not only the Indian companies, like as I said, startups are coming up like mushrooms. But other than that, other than Indian companies, you will also find the big giants of the world of gaming. They are coming in India, like Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, Zynga, Rockstar, okay, Tencent. All these companies have offices in India, and not only offices, the first three that you can see here, Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, and Zynga, and also Rockstar, they all have development center in India. Full-fledged team which are actually working on products. Ubisoft is building their first Indian game, like which will be developed inside India. They used to have a studio in Pune, only for that India-centric development, they have opened another studio. Pune also was developing games, but they were mainly working on already existing games. But for a fully new IP, they have created another studio in Mumbai, and they are hiring people like. So these kind of studios generally have say 300 to 400 team size. Rockstar India, if you see, they have almost 900 seat office in Bangalore, and that is on state of the art office. Like same, so these companies don't build their office according to India. Like they have to maintain the same standard all over the world. So if you go to a Disney office, you will see the same standard what a Disney office looks in outside India. Similarly, Ubisoft or Rockstar also. Zynga also have it. So this image that I'm sharing is a Zynga office. So and gaming culture is very different than normal software companies. You'll find software companies will find people coming in formal dresses. Like there's a dress code that you have to follow. There's a certain type of behavior that you have to follow. Like in gaming, you can be fully informal. Like you don't have to wear a tie or something. You don't have to wear formal dress. You can come in shorts also. You can come in your sleepers. Okay, it doesn't matter. Dress doesn't matter. Whatever you are comfortable, you can take a bin bag and sit in the corner and walk separately. You can walk from home or whatever. And always there is fun culture going in a gaming studio. Like there will be corners for playing games. There will be PlayStations, Xbox, or PC games. You can go there and play games because playing games is a part of the job. It's you're having fun and also you're working at the same time. So there's a huge difference in the work culture in game studios. And there are other companies like all these. GSN is a very big company. This is also a US based company. Then all the others you see here are Indian companies. Okay. Then, so those are the developers. Then other set of companies are the game publishers. These companies don't develop their own games. They just spend money for to studios like those, the development companies, and they publish. They look after the monetary things and the releases, localization and distribution, those kind of things they look into, but they are the main players. Like they have the money basically. Like if you see Tencent Games is the owner of PUBG. This is Chinese company, and they are like penetrating worldwide. In every company they have shares, even in big companies like you say Ubisoft or Electronic Arts or whatever, like very big companies, they have shares in that. So they are penetrating in all those things. PUBG also, if you see, they don't develop PUBG. PUBG was built by another company, but they just spend the money basically. Then there is Geo. Geo is coming up with their own platform of gaming. MPL, Mobile Premier League, that is also another website you can find. You can publish your own game there. They will pay you money. You can build your game at your home sitting. Like if you have the capability, you can build the game by yourself also. They're small games, and you can publish in these websites like MPL and Winzo. Those kind of websites are there, but they will pay you upfront money. Like you give the game and you charge. Okay, this game costs 10 lakh rupees. They will directly pay you 10 lakh and they will buy the game. That is one option. Or they will give you another option where you will be getting the revenue share. That is very interesting. So if you think that your game is capable enough to stay for a longer time, you can go for the revenue share. So in the revenue share model, what happens is you get money monthly. Whatever the game is making, you are getting a share from that. It will be mentioned in the contract, like say 20% or 10% or whatever. You will start getting that. So many companies are going with that model, and they are making, like, per game they are making 3 to 4 lakhs monthly, and they have like 4 to 5 games. They keep building those games. These games are very small, like 2 months production cycle mostly. Within 2 months you can build those games. Okay, then Nazara is a very big company. It is one of the oldest also in India. When game publishing comes in, all the Bollywood games that you see, they put the money behind that. Then Games 2 in and Disney Interactive, as I said, India Games, where I used to work, it is actually Disney Interactive. They put their money. Then, so the third kind, so first is the developers, then there's the publishers, and then there's the third kind, that is the outsourced services. So Rockstar I put here, but Rockstar should actually be in the, they are all three basically. They are publisher, they are developer, and outsource means they outsource for their own company basically. So the game is developed in another country, but some like India or China, those studios are working for them as an outsourcer, like that. So Rockstar can be placed in all the three categories of company that I placed: developer, publisher, and outsource service. So what is outsource service? Like, you don't invest anything here. You don't put time in developing the game, taking the risk that whether your game is going to work or not. All your money is going to go if the game doesn't work. So that is an investment basically. Similarly, publishing, if you put your money on some company, development company, to build a game, that is also a risk. But outsource services, they are not investing anything, any risk. They just give you service like any other outsource software companies. So they create art and code both. If you see Dhruva Interactive, I used to work here. Dhruva Interactive is one of the best art outsourcer from India. They used to do coding also. Similarly, Sumo Digital, they also used to do coding. So an art quality, initially when it started, they used to give us work, like very low quality works. Like if you see a big game, you see that Indian team has worked on that. You might be finding that, okay, what you worked? They have worked on some bricks or some stones falling in the road, or one pack of box or one light post, those kind of things. But slowly the skill set grows, and now full development is being done in India. Like even in movie sections also, if you see, many movies that you see, Jungle Books or Avengers or Life of Pi or whatever you see, almost 80% production is done in India. All these Hollywood movies that you see these days, all the Hollywood movies, VFX, we say that, okay, Bollywood doesn't have this quality and they are having Hollywood have this quality. You will be shocked to know that all the current movies, 80% VFX work is done in India. Same case for gaming also. Initially, all the outsource work used to go to China, but now China is very cheap. China will do even cheaper than India. India is almost 30% cheaper than the actual studios. If Ubisoft is developing a game in Europe, what they will pay their artists or their coders, Indian artists are working much lesser, and the production cost is very less. But China is even lesser. So India was not able to compete with them. But now what happened is, India working, not only they are working cheap, but they are also giving better quality than both China and the people that are working outside. Now Indians are getting hired outside from this company. They directly go to the mother company. So much talent the Indian artists or the coders have. Sumo Digital, if you see many people from the Sumo Digital India, they directly shifted to the UK studio. Dhruva Interactive, wherever they work, they used to work for German company. Many people shift to those German companies directly. Exigent is a Chinese company. Okay, Technicolor is also similar. They worked in both in movies and games. It's a very, very big company, Technicolor. Okay, now, so those are the companies that you should know about if you are planning to move to the gaming industry in India. Now, you need to know about the engines. What are the engines that are being used? Like, engine means the game software, the software that you use for the game development, basically. There are many other softwares we'll be using, like Visual Studio for coding or Maya for art, Photoshop. But ultimately, everything comes and merged into this software. This is the main game development software from where you will integrate everything, combine everything, test and publish from build, publish from this software. So that is the game engine. Initially, there used to be this graphic engine, AI system, and all those things. Game development is not an easy thing. If you consider software wise, it's a very, very complex task. So it is not possible for a small studio of 5 people, say. They will spend all of their time developing graphics capability and AI and all those things. They will, by the time they come to actual game development, how my game is looking, how the character is moving, or how the AI is behaving, how the design is working. By the time they come to that, they will already spend 1 to 2 years just developing those graphic capabilities and back-end things. So that time, engine helps. Like game engines already have done all those things, like the graphic thing, the coding thing that needs to be happen in the back end. Everything is already there. You just need to focus on your game. That's it. You don't have to write everything from scratch. So game engine helps in that regards. Like when I was in India Games, we have developed our own engine. We have a full engine team who have developed a own game engine, ICE engine we named it. And that game engine was like publishing games for all the platforms, but it was very, very expensive, time consuming, and also the quality was not up to the mark when you compare to this kind of engines, because for that you need a different team. So then came engines like this, like Unity, Unreal, CryEngine. Okay. Earlier they used to have this Talk 3D, then A6 engine. Those kind of engines were there. Now, if we come down to two main competitors, that is Unity and Unreal. So Unreal is totally free. You can download Unreal today from internet and start developing your game. It's free. You can even publish your game. You don't have to pay a single penny for developing or publishing the game from Unreal, and it's fully legal. So only after a certain amount, say you start making more than 50 lakh or something, there's a certain amount that is mentioned there. After that, you have to give them a certain percentage from your profit. So basically Unreal is free. Unity was also free earlier, but now the pro version you have to pay some license fee, but that is also nominal. So both these engines are competing with each other. Unreal is known for its quality, graphics quality, and graphics, coding, everything. Quality wise, Unreal is top notch, and Unity is known for like creating performance wise, like if you are developing game for mobiles or smaller devices or say internet, then Unity is a little bit more preferred, but both are almost neck to neck in competition. And then there are many other engines. Shiva engine, CryEngine was one of the top notch in quality. If you it was Crisis game, you have seen. Crisis was one of the best looking games at that time when it released. It was to showcase the capability of this engine, Cry engine. Then Shiva engine. Shiva engine is also used by Ubisoft. Also, they use this engine. So now one thing is, all these engines that you see, these are for personal, like you develop game at your home or you have a small studio, that is fine. But for AAA games, when it comes to very big budget games, mostly these kind of studios like Ubisoft or they have their own engine, own proprietary engine. They already developed the engine and developing it for decades. So they, because that gives them more option according to particular one game, they have one engine and they can open that engine up. So that is something else. But if you learn one of these engine, you will get to know all the engines where the concepts are all similar. Okay. Now another very good aspect is coming, that is also very new, and it is entering India right now, because if you have been following the news, Eros International has already signed up deals with Unreal and Microsoft. So the thing is that current engines like both Unity and Unreal, they are capable of giving you movie quality renders. So movie industry is slowly shifting to gaming. Like if you guys have seen movies like Avengers or TV series like Game of Thrones, all the VFX and everything that you see, this dragon that you see in Game of Thrones, full dragon and the environment and the effect, the fire that is coming out, everything is done in Unreal Engine. So it is gaming basically. Output they rendered as a movie, but their techniques, softwares, whatever is being used is gaming. So initially it was not that. Like the main, still now in India, the main production pipeline is you render from Maya or 3ds Max or those kind of softwares. You render your VFX like 3D models and everything. It takes a lot of time, lot of asset, and very less flexible. If you want to look, say this is the dragon, it is coming. Now the director feels that, okay, maybe I need to change the camera angle a little bit. I need to move a little bit left. If it was not, if it is normal movie pipeline, what will happen is, it doesn't matter whether you shift a little or you shift 100 meter or whatever. Any change in camera, you have to render the full scene again, frame by frame. You have to render the full scene again. Same time it will take. But in 3D, what happens is, it is very easy. It's already there in viewport quality only. You can see very good result. So this is Unity engine. I'm just showing one example. Say this is a scene. This quality is not that good, but movie quality can be achieved in this scene itself. So if the director says that, okay, I want to see it in a left, let's see. You can just rotate this scene and see. But in actual production, what need to happen? You have to render all the frames. So imagine the time, cost, and the freedom, the benefit you can imagine that we are getting from using a game engine over the traditional movie. So the point is, initially movie industry was separate, gaming industry was totally a separate thing. The skills, even the skills were not same, but now both are merging, and the movie guys have to adjust to the gaming world. Like if you are a coder in gaming, you will be working in Hollywood movies basically in future. and that is coming. As I said, Eros International of India, uh, they are going to produce 3 to 5 big budget movies in Indian content, and they are going to use Unreal. They have already started. The work has already started. Okay, so this is a very very big news for the industry. Now let's come to the job roles that you will get. Like there is in software, you guys already know what kind of job roles are there, but in gaming there's a little bit of difference. Like first first thing that need is a game design. So game designer is a profile there. Generally coders can also become game designers, but game design is a separate skill. Then obviously programming is one of, so these are the categories: art, programming, then audio. We can separate it from art if we want to. Audio engineering is something there. Then quality assurance is the testing that I said. Like tester is a very big role. They play a very big role in game development. Everything depends on the testers. Like they can reject your full game production at the last moment also, but they follow the same methodology as software testing that you guys learn. Software testing is the base, and over that you need to be a very very good game player. Like if you don't know how to play games, then you cannot be a tester. You should be beating all of your friends in any game, like whether it's PUBG or Counter Strike. So those kind of skills. So generally uh, these esports champions or all those people who have won some competition, they get very big roles in tester. Or you can also gradually move from, you don't know how to play game, okay, you join as a junior tester. Then you will learn to play games, how there are methodologies how you follow and find bugs in game. Then there is the production management. Like there will be product manager, okay, producers. If you see the right side slide, then you can see the producer uh, is someone who actually, like in a movie producer, basically there is a role in games which is known as game producer. So they look after the full production. Production is not, like many people have misconception that producer doesn't have any job, but that is not the case. They are handling the full production. So generally coders become, from coding only you go to all these lines like game design, producer, game tester. All three profiles, your base is coding. If you know coding, then it is easier. There are exceptions, artists becoming producer or people directly joining as producer. There are exceptions, but 99% case you will find their background is coding. Only art, if you see, art is something that is totally different from coding. Artists are separate. There is some bridging roles also, like the technical artists or technical artist. So they are working as a bridge between art. So they know a little bit of art. They also know the coding part. So they can write tools and help the engineers and arts like communicate properly. Whatever the artists need uh, and whatever the programmers can give, he will act as a bridge between that. Okay, then there are like storytellers and VFX artists, UI UX artists, uh, mocap artists. So there are lots of different roles that you can get. Let me show you. Mm. So VFX, like this kind of graphs will be there. So this is Vainglory VFX that I was doing uh, in their own engine. So this is neither Unreal, not Unity, or not any other commercially available engine. This is their own engine. So, but this kind of node-based things you will understand if you learn in one engine. So this is the VFX. So the VFX is a different role, VFX artist. So they also need to know a little bit of scripting and all those things. Then there is motion capture artist. All the animations that you see, whether it is in movies or it is in games, digital animation that you see, either you can do it by hand animation, keyframe by keyframe, or you can record the animation like this. Like they wear a suit. So this is one studio, Audio Motion in UK. So we did all our the cricket project that you saw. We did all our animations through this studio. So these are the sensors that they wear, and in a black suit, these are optical sensors. Nothing technologically very high thing. These are just reflectors basically, and they are surrounded. You can see these red lights. These red lights, it's surrounded by these. These red lights reflects from those reflectors. These dots on his body, and along with these lights, there are also cameras, 360-degree, multiple cameras are there. So combining that data, these dots comes into the computer as animation information, like this. So using that, the characters move. So this is also a separate type of skill. And team mocap and all those things, they need this kind of very, very big warehouse. So initially, India doesn't have any mocap studio in our own country. Anything we need to do, we have to go for outsource. There are small studios of very bad quality, like they are not professional studios. But right now, there are professional studios available in India. Just last year, they have opened one big studio. So you can see how this industry is going up. Like initially, people don't think that spending money in this kind of studio will help, but now they have the confidence that okay, India is moving in the right direction, so we can invest. They are getting work also, like they are getting work from Indian as well as outside studios. Okay, and cinematics that I was showing, let me show it. Okay, AR, a good, very good example of how AR is being used in games. You can see this is augmented reality games. Initially used to play game in PC or your mobile device. Now you are playing the game on your table. On your table or on your floor or outside in the ground. See, he's standing outside. The characters are actually fighting on the ground. This is like, this is just to explain you visually, but this is how it will look if you see it through your mobile. You will actually see the characters playing on the floor or your table. They will match the actual room lighting or the outside lighting, even the color of the light that is falling on them. Everything will match. So this is very easy. Like me and another guy both did this same game in a game jam in 2 days. Okay, and we had a presentation for that also in the IGDC. So this was the game. Video is not clear, but this, like in our office table, these two characters are fighting. And this we developed in 2 days. It's so easy because we are not developing any system. All the systems are there in the engine itself. Okay, see the paper, from the paper the character is coming out. I was explaining how the e-learning and the medical students, when they open a medical book, there is a heart diagram or an anatomy diagram. They just need to use a AR device, and that character will pop up from that page, and they can look at it in a 3D view. They can rotate it, they can scale it. Okay, they can see it in layers. It will open up and close up. So those kind of things can be done. So all the sector, see the frog is jumping from the floor to my table.
So what is the name of this game?
Which game? No,
Which you shows in the screen?
no. This game that I developed, this is for a game jam. This is not a released game. This is a game jam competition where I created that game in 2 days. So I was looking after the art, and another guy, this guy, he was looking into the coding. So these are not released games. And this one also that I showed, this guy developed it. This is also an experimental kind of project. Because if you see right now also many devices don't have this AR feature. All the new generation phone you will have. Like last week only I bought my new phone because it is so new. Still now it doesn't release this feature. They will come in 1 or 2 months. They will release it for this device. So within say 2 to 3 years, you will find all the games using these features. So this is a future technology, you can say. Okay. And for the cinematics part that I was saying, so these are the quality of the game engine that you are getting these days. Unreal released this video using PS5. Okay, so PS5, they are using a totally different technology which is revolutionizing the like game pipeline, how we used to render. Now millions and millions of polygons can be rendered. Any kind of lighting, any kind of effects can be easily rendered in these systems. So technology is going up at this high rate. Like big difference from PS4 to PS5 using Unreal. This is using Unreal 5. And imagine this engine is given to you free. You can right now start downloading. It is, I think, 6-7 GB, I think. The download size is big, but you can download and start building your own game. This is the quality of game that you can develop in that engine for free. Okay, so many of the already released this. This is not a like future technology. This is already used in the game. The Ghost of Tsushima game, if you see, this game is using the same technology. The environments and all those things, very realistic. You will not understand whether it's a movie or a game. The kind of effects that they have, light, the HDRI light and everything. If you check a PS4 game and PS5 game, you will clearly see the difference. Like same used to happen from a PS3 game to PS4. So technology will not wait for you. You have to jump on the train. Train is always moving. If you think that it will stop, it will not stop. You have to jump into the train and move along with it. So this kind of, see the fire effect behind the glow that is coming, those things were not there initially. They are very expensive effects performance wise, but now they are rendered very easily. And as I was saying, for the cinematics, like this is for Unity. This is a movie, this is not a game. This is a movie rendered using Unity. Everything is created inside Unity. Director can anytime change the camera inside. Anytime he can change the lighting. He can replace asset, add asset, whatever. In a blink of an eye, he can do that. But in a movie, actual movie production, if you try to do that, it's a mess. Like you have to plan way ahead if you want to do something like that. But now you can change camera in the real output. Earlier, director first has to make a sketch, then the artist will go through that. It might one single camera change might take him 1 month to see the result. Now it will take 5 minutes. So that kind of freedom the director, designers will get, and the gaming people like the game artists, game coders, or whoever is associated with the game industry, they will directly jump into the movie industry now. The movie industry that you see right now, that is going to fade off very soon. Okay, this is the Unreal. Same thing, different engine. All these movies that you see, many Disney movies, Marvel movies, you see all these things. I also was not aware when I was watching these movies that okay, these were done through game engines. I was shocked to know all these things. Marvel movie, Game of Thrones full effects is done in Unreal. Okay. And other than that, yeah, other than that, whatever I have is related to art mostly. I don't think anyone of is you like are you artists. Mostly you guys are coders, right? Coders or management students, right? Hello. Oh, they were.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you guys can have questions right now. We have some time left. You can start asking questions. Whatever I've shown you, I think that should be enough for the introduction phase. Now I can go get into much more details, but we don't have that time. So I would suggest if you have any questions regarding this topic, you can start shooting up those.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for being with us and share your knowledge and thought. Now, I would like to request all the participants, if you have any question, just unmute your mic and one by one you can ask the question. We will send you the feedback form meanwhile. Thank you.
You can type your questions also if you don't want to come into the mic. Okay, one question we got. Game design portion comes with graphic designing and animation. No, game designing is totally a different skill. So graphics and animation, whatever you saw, you actually need to separate it from game design. Like if you put graphic and animation while designing a game, it will actually act as a like distraction rather than helping it. So like game design, if you are say designing a game from scratch, generally game designers start without any graphics. Like they will start with a box or a circle or a sphere, and they will start playing the game with the controllers. So their main target is to see whether the game design is working or not, whether you are having fun playing, the mechanics is going good or not. So if you put graphics, then it will come, okay, the graphics is not looking good, or it is not matching, or it is looking bad. But that is not the case. So that is why, because that is not game design. Graphics is looking good or bad is art part. So the art is totally separate from game design. So there's something called, let me show you 1 minute. So we used to have this kind of, we used to call this game pe charcha, like chai pe charcha of Modi. We used to call this game pe charcha. Okay, we used to decipher the games where every aspect we study how the game was built and why it is a hit game and why it is not. So studying of each and every game, like the movie student studies movies. If you go to a movie college, they will study movies. So we study games. So this is one study for the Team Fortress 2 games. So there's a genre and everything. So in this you can find, this is one thing. This is known as the core loop. This is game design. This should work. How you are going from one place to another, whether you are having fun or not. This is known as the core loop. If the core loop is working, then you can start building on that with any kind of art or any kind of effects. With this same loop, you can make 5 games. With the same design, just changing the art, you can make 5 different games. Okay. Okay, another question is, hello sir, we want to know about the art part. So art part, I don't think we have much time to show, but I'll show some parts, like how the art is being developed. Like say this is one of the assets. Okay, this is how 3D assets go inside the game. Okay, can you tell me please what is the difference between game director and a game producer? There is nothing called a game director. There is no game director. You can say, so in game we call him product owner. Any product development team has a product owner. So like that, we also used to have a product owner. There is no director in game. And other question is, anyone can make his own game. Can you give any suggestion for the first year student, as first year student doesn't have much knowledge? Can you please, you don't need to have much knowledge. Basic coding knowledge is enough. You can download an engine, download Unity at home. Unity is better for starting. Unreal will be a little complex for you. Unreal also you can do if you want. Everything is available in YouTube, or you can find the tutorials. You can go to Unity and start learning through YouTube, or they have their own channels. If you don't have any knowledge about graphic, can we also build a game? Yeah, you can build a game without any art help, because if you go to Unity, there is an asset store where you get free assets for Unity. If you want to build a game as a programmer, you will get free assets there. So this is the art part. You can see if this is a 3D object that you are seeing, these are basically built with these maps. Like this is normal map, this is giving the height details. Okay, this is only the colors separated. Okay, then this is the reflectivity, which part will reflect, which will not. So these different types of maps are used to create these 3D assets, which will look like real life characters. This is the poly count. This is the polygons that like in 3D vertex edge polygons. And this is the final result. If you change the lighting, you can see it is looking like a real character, right? Please suggest what? First year student. Okay, graphic design. Sir, what should we do to become a game designer? So game designers are basically very good game players. So if you have very good interest in game and you know little bit of code, you start building your own game. You will know about design. There are many books available on game design. There are small courses available for game designing. Okay, game designing is mainly your passion. If you love games, you are already a game designer. If you review games, if you are playing PUBG and thinking that, oh, this feature is not good, this should be like this, then you are already a game designer. You can start building your own game. Start with small. That is my suggestion. Start with a very small game. Like pick those 8-bit games that I was talking about earlier, like Bizweld or Tetris, Pac-Man. Those kind of very, very small games you can start building to learn. Why Indian companies are not able to compete with PUBG kind of games, according to your point? PUBG, you can always build. As I said, you are saying that Indian companies are not making games, but Indian artists are building all those things. PUBG, if you see, many characters were built inside India only. Some guy sitting in Hyderabad, some guy sitting in Bangalore, they are working on those characters only. So art wise, coding wise, they are not like incapable. They can build, but you need to have companies spending that time, that amount of money, that amount of dedication. Like if Indian company is seeing that building Tinpatti is giving them 20 crores a month, then why will they invest? Like you need to have that passion in the investor also. So that is slowly building up in India. Many good games will come. You can see this character also looking good. And what is this? How is Minecraft such a popular game despite having terrible graphics? Some other aspects, yeah. So Minecraft, that is what I'm saying. Games, in a game, the backbone is the design, the game design. If you are having fun playing it, graphic won't matter. Okay, that is why Tetris is a hit. Super Mario is a hit game. Why? Mario is a very low graphic game, but design wise it was very good. Aspect, realistic, what is it? There must be other aspect to a game other than being realistic. What is it? Yeah, that is the game design part that I am saying. Game mechanics and game design. What are the best tools to quantify video game or esport experience? I didn't understand this question actually. Video game or esports experience means? If you can elaborate, I will answer it. Then, sir, you have said that only a coder or a professional player can test a game. Is this possible for a professional game streamer to test a game and get paid? Yeah, it is possible. Game tester, only with passion also you can become a game tester. Like if you are a very, very good game player, you go to any gaming company, you apply that I want to apply as a junior tester, they will give you a chance. Like initially because it's a small industry and many highly qualified people are already there. Initially, you might have to work for 1 year as a internship. They will pay you a little bit of, because they're teaching you actually. Internship means they will pay you a small amount of money so that you can survive. But logically, you should be paying them, because they are teaching you, they are giving their time, they are giving their space, their resources, and they are teaching you for 1 or 2 years. So, and additional to that, they are also paying you internship money. So initial 1 or 2 years there will be a struggle. After that, you will become a part of the industry. So game testing, yeah, without software also you can do. You just pick up a book on software testing methods or software testing methodology. Just go through the basics, what are being used, that will help. You don't need to know coding mainly, but like even more important thing is you should be a good game player. Okay, so I think questions. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. I have one question. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, how we can make our own game in Unity? Can you please explain us?
Yeah, so game engine is for that purpose only. You can download Unity, you can start learning the tutorials. Within 1 week, you will be able to make your own game, like small game. So I
Okay.
was,
So for making our own game, coding, and I am first year student, so I don't know coding much better. Can I make a game our own game?
yeah, first year, like what you learn, C you learn, right?
Yes, sir. C and Java.
Yeah, so Unity works in C sharp and Unreal works in C++.
Oh, okay,
So
sir.
if you have learned C, then it would not be any difficult for you. It is not like you are doing very big coding or something. It is just already the coding is there. You are just tweaking those codes or adding small bits and pieces to those codes. So that is why engine is helpful. If you go through, if I am not a coder, I am an artist. If I go through YouTube videos, I can make a game within 1 week. So why can't you? You have already learned C.
Yes, sir.
And in Unity, there is option, if you with button press, if you same game, you can publish it for mobile, PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox, TV, web. All the options are there. You just need to select the option. Already your game is built. Same game you are exporting for different platforms. Same for Unreal also. But Unity, all the features you will not get. Unity is Pro Unity version. I think you need to pay license fee a little bit, but Unreal is totally free. Job wise and learning wise, I will suggest start with Unity, then move to Unreal. That will be helpful. Okay, this question I didn't understand. What are the best tools to quantify video game or esports experience? Esport is like you play games basically. You compete with other gamers. Like if you are playing you are good in playing Counter Strike, then you go to a competition where, or you are good in playing FIFA, you go to the competition with the team and compete with other players. If you win, you will like win a huge amount of money. As you can see, the PUBG tournament, if you win, you get 50 lakh rupees. That is not a small amount. Even like big tournaments, they don't have that much money. Then Okay, quantify video game. I don't know what it is. Esports, I explained. If there is no more question, then we can wrap it up.
Okay. Um, okay, thank you, sir, for being with us and share your knowledge. I would like to thank all the participants for attending the session. Now, I would like to request Professor Indrani Dalui, Assistant Professor of BCA Department, to share few words.
Okay. Honorable dignitaries and distinguished guests, respected Vice Principal Sir, and dear participants, on behalf of Eminent College of Management and Technology and its entire fraternity and organizing committee, I feel immense pleasure to take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Arijit Gun, who spared the time from his busy schedule and graced the webinar with extremely relevant address on future of gaming in India. Thank you, sir. I take this
Thank
opportunity to
you.
specially
It's my pleasure.
I take this opportunity to specially express my deep regards and gratitude to Mr. Surajit Gun sir, the Vice Principal of Eminent College of Management and Technology, for encouraging us always and providing opportunities to organizing such events. I would specially thank our beloved HOD, Mrs. Priyanka Kundu, for her unfaltering support and confidence in us. My deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the participants who choose to be live with us and attend the webinar with great enthusiasm and made it a successful event. My sincere gratitude goes to the organizing committee for choosing topics that really matter to today's age and time. Last but surely not the least, I want to thank Mr. Aritro Kundu and Mr. Debraj Pal for all the technical support and helps. Once again, I thank you all for being with us here. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
ক্লাস শেষ হয়ে গেল নাকি? সবাই লেফট হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ